Have you ever been feeling perfectly fine and then walked into a room or spent some time with someone and suddenly felt anxious, irritated, heavy, or completely drained? Sometimes there's an obvious reason for the shift, but other times the feeling seems to come from out of nowhere. And then you might start wondering, is this feeling even mine? Hi, I'm Julie, and in this video we're talking about energetic boundaries, how we can be affected by the emotional energy around us, how to recognize the difference between what belongs to you and what you may have picked up from someone or somewhere else, and how to remain open and compassionate without carrying the emotional load of everyone around you. First, I want to clarify what I mean by picking up someone else's energy. We are constantly receiving information from the people and environments around us. We notice facial expressions, body language, tone of voice, tension, movement, and changes in the atmosphere, sometimes without consciously realizing it. If you're especially sensitive, intuitive, empathetic, or aware of subtle shifts, you may notice these things very strongly. You might walk into a tense room and immediately feel uneasy. You might talk to someone who is overwhelmed and leave the conversation feeling overwhelmed yourself. Or you might spend time in a crowded or emotionally charged environment and come home feeling exhausted, scattered, or just not like yourself. That does not necessarily mean that another person has intentionally placed something onto you. A lot of the time, people are not even aware that they are unloading any heavy emotions they might be feeling at the time into the space and onto the people around them. They may be venting, reacting, or simply moving through a difficult emotional state without realizing how strongly it's affecting you. Your system may then respond to, resonate with, or temporarily carry some of that emotional energy. The problem is that we do not always recognize when this has happened. We may assume that every feeling we experience must have originated within us. Then we begin searching for a reason. Why am I suddenly anxious? Why am I angry? What is wrong with me? We may even start building a story around why we might be feeling that feeling, even though it did not originally belong to us. So how can you tell whether a feeling is yours? One of the first things to notice is how suddenly it appeared. Ask yourself, what was I feeling before I entered this room, looked at this text message, or started talking to this person? Did the emotion develop gradually, or did it seem to arrive all at once? Did anything happen in my own life that would reasonably explain this change? A sudden shift does not automatically mean the feeling came from someone else. Sometimes our own emotions are triggered quickly, but the timing can give you useful information. You can also notice whether the emotion feels connected to a specific thought, memory, or situation in your own life. When a feeling belongs to you, there is often something underneath it that needs your attention. Maybe a boundary was crossed, or an old wound was activated. Maybe you're tired or hungry, overstimulated, or carrying something that you haven't processed yet. Your emotions are not something to reject simply because they're uncomfortable. But sometimes, when you pause and look within, you may realize that the feeling does not seem connected to anything happening in your own experience. It may feel strangely unfamiliar, out of proportion, or as though it appeared fully formed. When that happens, you can close your eyes, breathe deeply, and ask, is this mine? You do not need to force an answer. Just notice what happens inside you when you ask. Does your body soften? Does the emotion begin to loosen? If it does, that can be a strong indicator that what you were feeling was connected to something outside of you. But sometimes it can simply mean that pausing, breathing, and questioning the feeling has helped your system begin to release it. Do you suddenly recognize that the feeling started while you were around a particular person or in a particular environment? Your first response may offer helpful information. You can also try saying, "If this feeling is not mine, I release it now. I allow it to leave my body and my energy." Then take a deep breath in, a slow breath out, and imagine the feeling moving away from you. You are not sending anything harmful toward another person. You are simply choosing not to hold what does not belong to you. Afterward, bring your attention back to yourself. Feel your feet on the floor. Notice your breath. Place a hand over the center of your chest and say, "I return to myself. I call my energy back to me. I am present in my own body and in my own energy." This is where energetic boundaries begin. An energetic boundary is not a wall that prevents you from caring about other people. It's the ability to recognize where your emotional experience ends and another person's begins. It means you can be aware of someone else's emotions without taking responsibility for carrying them. You can notice that someone is angry without becoming angry with them. You can care about someone who is hurting without absorbing all of their pain. You can enter a difficult environment without allowing the atmosphere to define your internal state. That doesn't mean you will never be affected by anyone again. We're human, and we naturally respond to one another. The goal is not to become completely unaffected, closed off, or hypervigilant. Noticing another person's emotional state does not mean your boundaries have failed. The boundary is in what you do next. Whether you unconsciously carry the feeling forward or recognize it, stay connected to yourself and allow it to move through. The goal is to become more aware of when your state has shifted and to know how to return to yourself. So how do you remain open and compassionate without absorbing everything around you? One thing that can help is learning to witness what another person is feeling instead of automatically merging with it. You might silently remind yourself, "This person is experiencing a strong emotion. I can be present with them without making that emotion my own." There is a difference between empathy and emotional absorption. Empathy allows you to understand and connect with what another person is feeling while still recognizing that their experience is separate from your own. Emotional absorption happens when that separation begins to blur and their emotional state starts to take over your own. You may find yourself matching the emotion, feeling responsible for fixing it, or carrying it with you long after the interaction is over. Compassion does not require you to feel exactly what another person is feeling. You do not have to become anxious in order to support someone who is anxious. You don't have to carry someone's grief in order to care about their loss. And you do not have to enter someone's anger in order to understand they are hurting. Feeling overwhelmed by the same emotion is not going to help the other person. It will often just leave you less centered and less able to offer meaningful support. The earlier practice can help you return to yourself after you notice that your state has shifted. But you can also use your body awareness during an interaction before you become completely absorbed in what the other person is feeling. As you listen to them, keep part of your awareness inside your own body. Notice your feet on the floor. Notice your breathing. Notice the physical boundary of your body and the space around you. You can imagine yourself rooted into the ground while allowing the other person's emotions to move around you rather than through you. It can also help to separate compassion from responsibility. You might remind yourself, "I care about this person, but I am not responsible for regulating their emotions. I can offer support without taking ownership of their experience. And when the interaction ends, give yourself permission to let it end energetically as well. Take a breath, move your body, wash your hands, step outside, or briefly imagine yourself releasing the emotional residue of the conversation. You are not rejecting the other person. You are simply allowing their experience to remain theirs while returning fully to your own. It is also important not to assume that every uncomfortable emotion belongs to someone else. Sometimes the feeling is ours. Sometimes another person's emotional state activates something that was already present within us. And sometimes it may be a combination of both. You don't have to identify the source perfectly every time. The important thing is to pause before automatically believing every emotion or building a story around it. Ask yourself, what changed? When did this begin? Is there something inside of me that needs attention? And is it possible that I am responding to something around me? That moment of awareness gives you a choice. You can acknowledge what is yours, release what is not, and bring yourself back into your own center. The next time your mood changes suddenly, try not to immediately judge yourself or assume that something is wrong. Pause. Take a breath and ask, is this feeling even mine? You may be surprised by what you notice. And for those moments when you're feeling like you need to pull out the big guns, I also shared a more thorough method of releasing what isn't yours, calling your energy back, shielding, and grounding in the energetic hygiene episode. I'll link that in the description as well. In the next episode of Energy Essentials, we'll talk more about why certain people and environments can leave us feeling completely drained. If this video was helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who may need it. You can also click the notification bell to be notified when we post new videos. And if you feel like you need more support on your healing journey, I offer energy healing sessions through Dragonfly Awakening. These sessions are designed to help clear energetic buildup, restore balance, and support you in feeling lighter, clearer, and more like yourself again. You can visit dragonflyawakening.com to learn more or book a session. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.